Let us start the session by chanting Namo Tassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. All right. Page number 212, table 5.4. All right. I think we went through a part of the table, didn't we, last time? But we will go through the whole table again this time, just to cover our ground and to review what we have done as well. Okay. All right. So what does this table represent? This table represents, according to the karma that is, or the karma developed by the respective class of chittas, can give results in which realms or realms of existence, right? In which realms of existence does the karmas give result? That is what we are seeing in this chart. So let us go to the chart and go through it. Okay. Where did we stop last time? Do you remember which number we stopped last time?
It was 2, I think, Bhante.
2.
2.
Okay. All right. So we'll start from 1 anyways. All right. So 11 unwholesome, right? 11 unwholesome, excluding restlessness, right? Excluding restlessness. Where can these arise, or where can these arise, or what function does it perform? First of all, it arises, or it can perform the function. Here it says, at the moment of rebirth, right? At the moment of rebirth, it arises to give rise or give results in the 4 woeful realms, right? Within the 4 woeful realms, the unwholesome resultant investigation consciousness is what arises when a karma is produced, or when a karma is performed. No. When an action is performed through the 11 unwholesome chittas, when action is performed through the 11 unwholesome chittas, they can give rise within, or I'm sorry, at the time of rebirth, through the unwholesome resultant investigating consciousness, right, to produce a rebirth within the 4 woeful realms. Again, right, look at the chart, right? When an action, hold on a minute. When an action is performed through the 11 unwholesome chittas, excluding restlessness, this can give result at rebirth through the unwholesome resultant investigating consciousness to produce rebirth where within the 4 woeful realms. Do you understand the chart now? Right? That is what it is saying, right? Let's go to the second one, which is now the 12th, right? Do we remember why restlessness is excluded in number 1 and why it is included in number 2? Can anyone give me the answer?
It's a weak chitta. Uddacha is a very weak chitta.
So what if it is a weak chitta? Why, Mala?
Because it's just restlessness. It doesn't perform any unwholesome. It is unwholesome.
No.
But
that the strength is not there.
It's weak. That's right.
Yeah.
Is it just because the strength is, it does something. It does something to the continuum. What does it do? just imagine, if there's a, you're trying to keep or you're trying to sort of keep, let's say, a cup of water on a table, but there's an earthquake. What happens? You can't, it'll shake, it'll topple the cup over. That's the same thing with restlessness, right? Because it's not that the consciousness is weak with this regard. It's a fact that it creates such restlessness in mind that it cannot give result at the time of rebirth. It is the essence of restlessness itself. Because why? What does restlessness do? It shakes. It distracts. It doesn't help a consciousness settle in a moment. Isn't it? It goes, it changes object. And when now, particularly at 1, right, at this first category, we are referring to rebirth. Rebirth has to have some sort of focus. That focus will not be facilitated by a consciousness which is restless. That is why restlessness does not give rise or does not arise at the time of rebirth. Do you understand? Is that understood? Yes? Mala, you had a haircut?
Dharmasiri did it for me. I didn't go.
Yes. Can I ask something, Hamdulillah?
Yes, Padma.
Yeah. Is it because the restlessness, the whole action doesn't complete? Is that why it doesn't result in patisandhi? The course of action doesn't come to an end? Is that the reason?
What do you mean, Padma?
No, I think the book says that, say, if you intend to kill somebody, but if you finally kill, the person gets killed, then the action is complete and that would result in karma. But with restlessness, I think we are jumping from one to another. So we don't finish the action. And is that why it is considered weak and not resulting in patisandhi?
Well, when we say we don't finish the action, it's, if you think about it in terms of Abhidhamma, it's not, it's because every moment something is completed.
Okay.
I mean,
all right.
Even if, for example, if you're moving if I am to move my arm from this point to this point, every moment there's a sense of completion, right?
Okay.
What restlessness apparently does is the fact that it doesn't help the mind stabilize itself upon one object. It convinces and moves the mind to jump, to let go of this object, to grab hold of another.
Yeah. Okay.
Right? So whatever which is done through restlessness is weak.
Okay.
Right?
Okay, thank you.
Performed through restlessness is weak. Okay, that is why when we would take kusala, the performing of kusala, or the performance of kusala, is that right to say? Performance of kusala. The doing of kusala through a person who lives a akusala life, there is a higher chance of the kusala being weak than it being powerful. Because the norms of the mind are that which creates, or that which has the supporting factors to support akusala rather than the kusala. Yeah? Okay. Any other questions? Okay.
Bhante, the other thing is what Padma says is also correct, because if you have not completed the full action of karma, that means karma pata, and then it will not develop into a fully blown karma, but it will become a partial karma which will result in pravritti karma.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is correct.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
understand the question maybe in a different way then. Okay.
Yeah.
Lucky.
Bhante, on that chart on number 1, on the right hand side, it says unwholesome result. Is it unwholesome resultant investigation? And then what's the last word? The equation?
Unwholesome resultant, equanimous.
Equanimity, yeah.
Investigating. Is it investigating and equanimous?
Santirna, isn't it?
Right.
Yeah. Although it's unwholesome, here it's not painful because unwholesome makes it weak, hence cannot feel pain.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
These types of consciousnesses help in the process of functioning of the senses, right? Because the sense is too weak, it cannot sense or it cannot create. However, if we take the counterpart, which is the kusala, we have a sukha there, isn't it?
Yes.
Mm?
Yes, Bhante.
All
So,
right.
so equanimous. It is the last word is equanimous.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. Moving on to the second one. 12 unwholesome. Right. 12 unwholesome. When an action is performed, when an action is performed through the 12 unwholesome consciousnesses, these actions can produce results throughout a person's lifetime, right? Throughout a person's lifetime. And they can result or give result within all the sensuous spheres and the fine material spheres, right? And the fine material spheres, right? How results within the sensuous sphere can be given through or can arise through the unwholesome resultant investigating consciousness or the other resultant unwholesome consciousnesses, right? Which we already know. I mean, we know this, isn't it? Because if there is only one class of unwholesome resultant, and those are found within the ahetukas, the rootless consciousnesses. If something unwholesome is coming out or giving result, it has to give result through those consciousnesses specifically, right? The fine material consciousnesses, right? The fine material consciousnesses, within the fine material realm, right? these consciousnesses or karmas performed through the unwholesome consciousness can give rise within the fine material realm during their lifetime through the unwholesome resultant investigating consciousness and the other resultant unwholesome resultants. Here, the fine material is 4. Why is this? Why is it 4?
It's only Chakku and Sota.
Yes.
Yeah.
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 I have the question, Hamdun. We were wondering why the FMS became 15, whereas actually in the realms there are FMS is 16. Is that because we are excluding the non-percipient beings? I mean, this is what I discussed with Mala and I had a discussion about it.
Yes, it is.
Okay, thank you.
Wait, no, non-percipient being, hold on, let me see. Fine materials.
No, Bhante, if you go to the next section of the chapter, the table, right? In that table, it is defined as 15 spheres. That means they categorize slightly different way.
They have categorized in a different way.
Yeah, because if you see the first jhana, 3 spheres, second jhana, 3 spheres, third jhana, 3 spheres, fourth jhana, 3 spheres, and then you have fifth jhana, great reward, and fifth jhana, non what do you call the non-percipient, and the fifth jhana, pure abode. So they classify pure abodes into one existence.
Into the fifth jhana.
Yeah. So that's why it's coming to 15.
15.
Yeah.
Why was Mala biting?
Can you explain that again, please? Because I don't know what you're talking about now. Where is it?
And can you go to the second part of the chart we are discussing?
Yeah.
And you can see line number 6, first jhana, it has got 3 existence,
Yeah.
right? And second jhana, 3 existence.
Right.
Third jhana, 3.
Yeah.
Fourth jhana, 3. Altogether 12 now.
Yeah.
And fifth jhana, great reward, 1. Fifth jhana, non-percipient, 1.
Mhm.
And then fifth jhana, pure abode, 1. That means altogether 15.
Got it, Padma.
Okay, all right. So that's why
So
it is.
it is slightly different classification, whereas in the previous one, they classify according to the lifespan, right? And this one is classified according to the rebirth linking or the resultant karma.
Yes, I remember in the other Abhidhamma book, they classify in 16.
Yes, that's right, yes.
In 16. They
Yeah.
have classified, they've taken away, or they take the pure abodes into this section.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Sorry, Bhante. Can I speak, please?
Yes.
It's on page 187.
Yeah.
They have put the second and third jhana together. And they have added the 5 pure abodes. So it becomes 16. Page 187.
Page 187. Okay. Okay. Now,
That's exactly what we were talking about.
that's exactly.
Is it? Oh no, I didn't. Dharmas had only one pure board, isn't it? So there are 5.
Yep.
How to get that?
I don't know. Anyway, it's all right. Thank you. Sorry.
No. Dhamsiri, do you want to clear that?
Can you, Litis, can you go to the second part of the chart we are doing?
Yeah, I'm on second part.
Okay, if you count how many existence up to 5th jhana, then you see 15. The reason is there's a slight different classification in this particular one. When compared to the previous one was based on lifespan, while this one is based on rebirth linking and resultant karma and things like that.
Okay, thank you.
So 5th jhana, great reward. The pure abode is lumped into one existence in this particular one.
I know. In page 187, they put into 5.
Yeah, that's based on lifespan.
Okay.
If we go through in the 5th jhana, right, we find great reward on percipient beings, pure abode, right? That pure abode, if we go into the 31 planes of existence, we have the highest pure abode, clear sighted pure abode, beautiful pure abode, serene pure abode, durable pure abode. In that categorization, they have the highest pure abode and clear sighted pure abode, they have bunked together.
Yeah.
Okay.
In this classification, right, that is why there is 15 in the or 15 planes that it can arise within. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Bhante,
Yeah.
how can they include asanyatale or the non-percipient in these classifications? We are talking about karma resultants. So there's no, in the asanyatale, there's no rebirth, there's no parsandititta, and there's no chittaviti. So during the course of existence, they can't have any karma resultant.
They can't, okay, yes, they can't have, okay. This is not getting easier, you know, it's getting because that is a tough question to answer, right? Because karma exists, right? Anusaya, the only thing that doesn't exist, as we've spoken before, is consciousness. Karma and anusaya both exist within, right? Within the plane of asanya satta, right? Because of the karma, like for example, we talk about during the time of samadhi, the kaya is maintained by the samadhi chitta, right? Remember when Venerable Sariputta was hit by a demonic force while he was in Nirodha Samapatti, and his body did not suffer the consequence because by the power of the Nirodha Samapatti Chitta, the Samadhi Chitta in specific, right? That is that power of that consciousness, right? Within now, in the Asana Satta plane, although we might not be moving about, however, the maintenance of the body is done by the karma. Right? So it would be difficult to come into a conclusion where we would say that karma does not exist within the Asana Satta plane.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay.
But the anomaly here is that where, for example, when we have the Chutichitta and the Patisandhi process taking off from the previous birth, we usually have a repetition or a continuation of that series in the next birth. Within the Asannasatta plane, we don't have that repetition there, not repetition, that continuation,
Yeah.
right? That is the anomaly.
Mhm.
However, the kaya comes to exist, right? So it would be difficult to say that karma does not exist in the Asannasatta plane.
Mhm.
Bhante, can
Yeah.
you now, but still you should have the Chutichitta in the Asannasatta.
Yes. The Chutichitta rises.
Yeah. Yeah. And then, of course, the next birth, Patisandhi Chitta.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
The Marna Sanna Chittaviti or the Chutichittaviti arises right before death. And
Yeah.
the rising of the Viti itself is the demise of the Asannasatta.
Yeah, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It is almost as if the arising, for example, now the 12 unwholesome, right? Now, when the unwholesome we now see during life, it can occur within the fine material sphere, 15, right? When it arises there, if, for example, let's say it's a hate, it's hate-filled, right? The arising of that itself can cause the demise of the being because that consciousness is not bearable by that subtle being.
Mm,
In Sukuma, no, in Sinhala we say kaya sium vadi. Sium kaya, subtle. It's the body, the physical body is too subtle to bear such a gross consciousness, right? To bear such a gross consciousness. All right. Okay. The third. Okay. 4, 3, superior, wholesome, superior, wholesome, superior. What is the abbreviation for RTD?
Rooted, Bhante, rooted. Three-rooted.
Three-rooted, superior, wholesome, right? Lobha, dosa, moha. Three-rooted, superior, wholesome, which can arise at rebirth, right? Which can arise at rebirth, can be, or that sort of consciousness can arise at the moment of rebirth at these realms of existence, which is the sense sphere blissful, all the sense spheres and the fine material spheres during the course of life. So just within the sense sphere blissful planes, it can arise at the time of rebirth, but it can arise during life in all the sensual sphere planes and the fine material planes. Right? The consciousnesses, we'll take the first one, the sensual sphere beautiful, right? Which is 7, right? I'm sorry, the sensual sphere, the sense sphere blissful, which is 7. So this is disregarding the woeful realms, right? Disregarding the woeful realms. How does it arise? The great resultants. This should be obvious, isn't it? Because if it is a Mahakusa, if it is three-rooted can only arise through a consciousness which has 3 roots, right? Alobha, dosa, moha. So that exists in the Sobana, Mahasobana Vipaka, right? And that is what it is here, you see, right? So there is 4. Is it 4? Yes, it is 4. Because why? Completely it's 8. Without, when you take half, it's 4 there, right? So it's 4. Then during the time of rebirth, this sort of a wholesome can arise, right? Or in all the sense sphere planes, that is 11, through what? Wholesome resultant investigating equanimity. Wholesome resultant investigating equanimity consciousness, right? Which is a rootless consciousness. Remember, rootless consciousness. And it can arise through great resultant dissociated with knowledge and associated with knowledge, right? Let's come to the first one first, right? Which is the wholesome resultant investigating consciousness. Remember, when an wholesome deed is done, a wholesome deed can be done in many ways, resulting with the amount of knowledge you have and all of these things. The kusala can be omaka kusala or ukrushta kusala, meaning the kusala can be weak, the kusala can be powerful. If the kusala is weak, it gives rise through the rootless counterpart, which is the wholesome resultant investigating equanimous. Is that understood? No. Even in the law of rebirth, even if we take rebirth, right? Depending upon the power of the karma which is performed, the karma can be, whether it is good, although it is good, even if it is good, it can be weak, it can be powerful, right? If it is powerful, it will give rise as a maha sobana vipaka, or a great wholesome resultant. If it is a weak wholesome, it will give rise through a rootless consciousness, specifically the wholesome resultant investigating. Is that understood? Question marks?
Bhante, you're talking about pravritti karma, right? In this particular case?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, because we are talking here, we are
Yeah.
talking about truth, yes.
Yeah. Pravritti, yeah, okay, thank you.
Anyone else? A bit blank. What's the confusion? Dale, are you all right there? Dale, I know you don't like the numbers, you know. You're seeing numbers today. What is it that you can't understand, Dale? Unmute yourself, please.
It's not that I can't understand it, but
Okay.
I haven't spent time reading it. So when I open, and today I got 5 minutes late because I had to go out and it got late to come in. So first of all, I just opened the page, and when you're reading the paragraph, I know where we had stopped and I know the chart. I wasn't quite sure where you're reading. I remember what we had done last time and I understood it then, but I haven't opened the book since then till now. And that's a fact. So when you're reading it, it was again new to me, and I then followed about being weak and docking results. But I haven't know you have to read this and you have to understand, and I haven't done that work. And if I don't do that work, then obviously everybody else is doing it. So it's just the way it is, and I listen and I understand what I can. And if I can't understand it a little bit, then I'll try and I will read a little bit more. But that's just the way. So I'm not very sure about, I was thinking when you say fine motor spheres, I thought there were you know, the number of the realms which were there, and I counted them, and then the Asana Satya realm wasn't there. So I thought that was the reason that that was there. But and in the chart that I have, it's like, so there are 3 and 3 and 3. The first 3 I have no point 12, but then the 4th jhana in the chart that I have got, but that's not from the Abhidhamma, it's from the Sutta. So therefore it's categorized differently. So that's what it is, but it doesn't matter, Bhante. So you just continue with it, and I'll try and follow what I can, and if I can't, maybe I will ask you some other time, Bhante. But I don't want to waste the time of the class who have read a lot, and I'm quite happy with that, because for me, my understanding of it and things like that comes in a much more general way, and the very specifics of knowing all these things, I don't spend the same amount of time that others who want to know so much about. And if I can understand enough for me to understand for my meditation and for my practice, I'm happy with my sessions.
Okay.
So I think that's the way I've been learning, and I don't want to spend so many hours learning everything for the sake of just knowledge only. For me, the clarification comes in the meditation and the general. So I come for the class and I will learn as much as I can, but that's just the way I am, Bhante. So it's not your fault or anybody's fault, and I don't want to waste the time in the class.
If you have any questions. Padma, you had a question?
Yeah. Just now you mentioned it was rebirth you were talking about, wasn't it? You said if the karma is weak, rebirth through wholesome, rootless, investigating equanimous.
Yeah.
If the karma is strong, it's not pravritti you were talking about, right? Okay, thank you.
It can be in pravritti as well. Specifically, the law of omaka, right, applies at rebirth, and also it operates during pravritti as well. Right, depending, it happens in both, right? The reason why this happens is not explained. It's only said that because it is weak, right? Because it is weak. Okay.
But you did include first that it was rebirth linking, and then now it is pravritti. So it's not that is pravritti only, isn't it? The way I understood also.
Both. That mechanism can play out in both pravritti and rebirth processes.
Thank you, Bhante. That's the way I understand.
With regards to this specific part here, now we are discussing, we finished the rebirth, patisandhi, and we are going on to the pravritti now, right? So here in the pravritti, we now have covered why it can arise as a wholesome resultant, and at the same time, it can arise as a great resultant associated with knowledge and associated with knowledge as well. Okay, is that clear? Right, all right, moving on now to the fine material sphere, the 3 rooted wholesome chittas, right? Wholesome chittas. Hold on. Okay. Here it says specifically superior wholesome. So it is not talking about omaka. It is specifically talking about superior wholesome, right? Then the kamma which arises, can you see on the first section, 3 rooted consciousnesses, superior wholesome, right? So then the kamma which arises, or the kamma which is produced, which can give rise within the sense sphere blissful at the time of rebirth, always happens. That is why, or else, if we would just jump onto the 4th section, right, and check the first sense sphere blissful, you see it is a great resultant disassociated with knowledge there, right? A great which is inferior, right? Which is inferior. No. Check the second one, sense sphere all, right? In the sense sphere all, you see 8 under wholesome resultant investigating equanimity. That is where the inferiority hits. Do you understand? Is it not clear for the others? If we, okay, look at the chart, please. Number 3. Number 3, now we are looking at 3 rooted wholesome, isn't it? Superior wholesome. In the superior wholesome, for rebirth, superior wholesome will always give rebirth through the great resultants, right? Through the great resultants. When it is inferior, then there is a possibility, not that it always happens, there's a possibility that it can give rise through the omaka or the rootless wholesome resultant, right? Rootless wholesome resultant. Why? Because the karma is weak, right? Because the karma is weak. So 3 rooted superior wholesome, that is, you've done it with very powerful attributes of mind through alobha, adosa, amoha, non-greed, non-hatred, non-delusion, right? So now you can be reborn into the blissful states or the blissful planes within the sensual sphere, and that rebirth would be facilitated by the 4 great resultant chittas associated with knowledge. Associated with knowledge. Great, because it is superior. Is that understood? Yeah? Okay. I'm sorry. Now, then the next one, sense sphere all, which means including this, I'm sorry, not sense sphere, sensual sphere, yes, sense sphere. Sense sphere all, which includes the hells, right? Which includes the hells. The 3 rooted superior wholesome consciousnesses can arise in these places or in all of the sense spheres, planes, during life, during the course of that being's life, right? How does it give rise? Then it has to give rise through the investigating consciousnesses, investigating wholesome consciousness, or the other wholesome rootless consciousnesses. Do you understand? How does this happen? Example, Dil, can you open your camera, please? Have you opened your camera? How does this happen? This happens by this way, right? Let's say now we know we practice giving merit to our dead departed relatives, isn't it? Now, the departed relatives, if they are within the lower realms, they are pretas, yakas, pisachas, kumbhandas, and all these beings who can take merit, right? Now, when we are giving them merit, now merit makes one happy. That elated consciousness is what brings that being peace, right? That peace is brought about. Now, let's say that being, that preta, for example, sees something, or it happens, or it arises in its mind, and this something that arises in its mind is something which is wholesome and meritorious. By that itself, the being can break out of the dire situation the being is now in and gain rebirth within a higher plane. Right? Do you now understand what this is talking about? Because if that being, let's say, our departed relative hears us giving merit, now where would that arise? The year, isn't it? That would arise in the year. If it's seen. But why? Look at the chart now. Within the chart, it clearly has divided that rootless, wholesome rootless into two, which is wholesome resultant investigating and other rootless wholesome resultants. It has taken out this investigating wholesome. Why? Because this investigating wholesome plays a special part and role. It is more powerful compared to the rest of the rootless. In terms of powerful, not in a way that, it is of great power, in the function that it performs. Here, within the other rootless, remember the rootless consciousnesses, the eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, right? Those are what helps in that physical functioning, right? The investigating consciousness is more connected to the mind door rather than anything else. Do you understand? So we have now, that is why now in the fourth category, we will, in the inferior, we will find Omaka Kusala arises through weak, wholesome, will give result through the investigating rootless, wholesome consciousness. You see, that can function, cannot be performed by the other resultants. It can only be performed by the investigating, wholesome, resultant, rootless consciousness. Do you understand? Is that understood? Right? Now, let's look at that again. Right? So we have sensuous sphere, sense sphere all 11. Right? 3 rooted superior wholesome, that is alobha, adosa, amoha based consciousness can arise during the time of life, either by wholesome result investigating or other wholesome resultants, or it can arise through the great resultants with knowledge or without knowledge. With knowledge or without knowledge. Depending on what situation you are in. Right? Depending. Remember that story about where the womanizers, the 3 kings who were womanizers, they went to hell. And Lohamapaya, they went to Lohamapaya where they sunk into molten lava for 60,000 years and they came up 60,000 years. Right? That was the extent of their pain for womanizing. Right? And for using women and, doing all of those sort of, all of that. Right? Why are you laughing? Right? So, doing all of that. So, and at the time that they come up, just for a split moment, right? The King Kosal hears I can't remember the 2, it was the first syllable of the word, right? Where they say that we have been sinking and, coming up in this pool of lava for so long because we did not understand the words of the Tathagata, right? When they were able to finish their thought, they vanished from there and arose in bliss. At the end of the verse, because the moment that they start thinking again, the pain is so dire that, all sort of other thought vanishes, right? So at the moment that they come up and go down 4 times, they realize, they sort of finish their sort of thought in that sense and they arise in heaven, as the story goes, So that is brought about by the wholesome consciousness. Why people rarely come out of niraya, avicii, is because avicii is pain. It is very difficult to develop a consciousness that can take you out of there. Right? Now, we often, for story's sake, we put it in this way, isn't it? I mean, this is the way I have heard it, and I presume that you all have. When the karma vanishes, he appears back into the human realm, or he appears out of avicii. That is how we hear it, isn't it? But really, yes, the karma vanishes. That is the bigger picture. If you look at it from a if you look at it from a more practical sense, what happens is this thought, in some way or the other, this kusala thought must arise in the mind for you to gain exit from hell, without which that will not be possible. Right? Without which that will not be possible. Just as an immaterial or fine material being cannot bear the weight of an unwholesome mind, a woeful being cannot bear the weight of a wholesome mind. Do you get it? They can't bear unwholesome, they can't bear wholesome. Yeah? Understood? Do you understand the numbers a bit more now then? Yeah? Okay. Then we have, yes. So then it can arise the 8 through the investigating and the other rootless resultants, and also it can arise through or give result through the great resultants, right? Great resultants, the beautiful ones. Now, fine material sphere 15, right? Fine material sphere 15 can give rise, now superior, right? Can give rise through 5. Why? Because only Chakku and Sota, right? Because of they don't have all the faculties that we have, right? And then there is 8, which is again the great resultants, right? So the great resultants have to come up to give rise in those positions, in those places, all right? Now, 3-rooted inferior, 2-rooted superior. Now, 3-hetuka omaka kusala kamma. 3-hetuka omaka, weak, kusala kamma. That is 3-rooted inferior, right? Dvihetuka, superior wholesome karma also exists, right? Dvihetuka, superior wholesome karma also exists. So what is, let's see what that is. First, we have at rebirth. So the not proti, but patisandhi, right? It can appear in 7 of the sense sphere blissful, excluding apaya, the hells. And this gives rise through, now remember, it is inferior, right? Inferior. Although it says superior in the second, we know it's 2-rooted, right? It's 2-rooted. 2-rooted can never have 3 roots. So it will always be taken in the inferior category, right? So it will never arise with knowledge. It will always arise without knowledge. Is that clear? Yeah, is that clear? 3-rooted inferior and the 2-rooted superior wholesome. Hey Mamali, are you all right there? Yes, clear. Lettuce? Sure. Okay.
Bhante,
Yes.
can I ask practically when you have inferior, it can it can go down one step below.
3-rooted?
Or even, yeah, even 2-rooted inferior.
Okay.
We will discuss it. It can go down one step below. If it is superior, it can retain the higher position, or if it is 2-rooted, it almost touches the 3-rooted inferior.
Yeah, it is.
So it's a phenomena that actually better to understand. So how these actually inferior and superior jump up, and if it is inferior, down. It's only one step jumping up or one step down.
What that means is, now, for example, if we first take the 3-rooted superior and inferior,
Yeah.
Everyone 3-rooted superior and
Yeah.
inferior. If for example, if let's say it is superior, if it is superior, it can give rise, let's say for us as humans, it can give rise within the human plane in a better position within the human plane and in the blissful plane, right up. So it can be right where we are now in a better circumstance, let's say a wealthy family, a high caste, all of that, right? A better situation, right? Or the blissful plane. If it is inferior or makar, right, there is a chance that you might remain where you are, but there is a higher chance there where you might go to a lower standard of living, or a low standard of living. That's it. You go down, right? But this is a possibility. Now, if we look at the 3-rooted inferior, remember the 3-rooted inferior, great resultant disassociate with knowledge, right? Disassociated with knowledge. Now, that will not give rise in a higher plane, but it can maintain or most probably take you through standard of living down, right? But that is within the blissful plane, right? So even if we appear within the blissful plane, we might go down. There's a potential to go down, right? Because to appear within the blissful or to maintain, how do we go up? 3-rooted, isn't it? We always go up through 3 roots. Without the 3 roots, we come down. Is that understood? Pushpa? More? I'll explain a little bit more, right? Is that understood? Anyone who doesn't understand? Maybe I should get this on the display and share my screen. Should I do that? I feel like everyone is a little bit
Thank you.
like, what is going on? Where have we come to today? Okay, so what we are, let me see how to do this. So what we are trying to say is, now let's take the example of a human being, right? Example of a human being. When we take the example of a human being, can you see my iPad? Oh, there you go. Can you see this?
Yes, we can.
Oh, wonderful. Okay. Where's my pen? Okay. So when we are referring to, now we are referring to this part, number 3, right? Now, 3-rooted superior wholesome, what it means is, for a karma, 3 roots, alobha, adosa, amoha, right? Alobha, adosa, amoha. But this is not normal alobha, adosa, amoha. this is a karma that has been performed with utmost knowledge and understanding. Right? It is not just something which has been done because your parents told you how to do it. No, this is with utmost, it has power in it, right? Now, this kind of a consciousness can give rise at rebirth, as you can see that star above there, at rebirth, giving us entry into the sense sphere blissful, meaning that it is taking us up, right? From wherever we are, it will help us. If we are already in the blissful, it will help us maintain or take us up, right? Now, then we come down here to the fourth one right here. Now, when we come down here to the fourth, we see three-rooted inferior. There are three roots. However, it is inferior. What does this mean? Three roots, but it is inferior. Three roots, but inferior means the karma is or has been performed through alobha, adosa, amoha. However, maybe the understanding, maybe the alobha, maybe the non-greed, non-hatred, or non-delusion, an aspect of this consciousness has been compromised. How? It can be because of your knowledge, it can be because of some sort of difficulty, whatever it is, it doesn't matter. It is weaker than the more powerful consciousness. Because it is so, right? Because it is so, we find three-rooted inferior set together with two-rooted superior here, you see. Do you understand? Two-rooted superior and three-rooted inferior. That is why it is put together here. Yes, understood? Okay. Because
But why had they put 4 and 4 there, and on the top one in 3 they have put 4?
yes, here,
What does that mean?
why is it 4? Can anyone tell me why the 4 is there? Mala?
Out of the 8, 4 are with knowledge, 4 without knowledge.
There you
So
go.
first we are discussing the 4 with knowledge.
Yes, 4 with knowledge. Yes. So we are first here, we are discussing the 4 with knowledge, right? Here, now, when we take the three-rooted inferior and the two-rooted superior, they are bound together because of this shared sense of weakness, right? Within that consciousness, although the second-rooted superior wholesome might be named superior, it is still weak in comparison to the three-rooted superior. Is that understood? In comparison to the three-rooted superior, the three-rooted inferior and the two-rooted superior are both weak. Understood?
But Bhante, even in that 3-rooted superior, it's still 4 there. They haven't put 8 there. They still put 4 there. Why is that? In number 3, they have just put only 1 4. In the other, yes, they have put 4 and 4 because one is 3-rooted inferior, other one is 2-rooted superior. But in number 3, they have only put 4 only for 3-rooted superior also. Why is that one?
Well, which 4 are you referring to, Dil? Are you referring to this 4 or this 4?
No, this about that. In number 3, in box, yeah. Now
This-
there is 3-rooted superior, but that's 4. Now here it is 4 because it's 3-rooted inferior or 2-rooted superior. So here, why is it still 4 with 3-rooted superior?
Who has the answer to that, please? Anyone?
Bhante, there are 4 chittas with knowledge. And after the 4 chittas, they can be either superior or inferior. That's what I thought. There are 4 chittas with
And-
knowledge. That means there are 3 roots.
Yes.
Out of the 4 chittas, they can be either superior or they can be inferior.
So then what about these 4 here, Mala?
3-rooted, yeah. Those 3 roots, 3-rooted, there are 8.
Hmm.
Out of the 8, 4 are with knowledge.
Yeah.
With knowledge, 4 can be inferior.
Yes. Right. Dil, did you understand now? Did you get it? If we take the calculation of the chittas, right? How many chittas are with knowledge? How many chittas are without knowledge? Under, yes. So although it might be 4, it's not referring to the same 4. It's referring to 2 different 4s. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
ma'am.
So this is referring to one specific set. This is referring to another specific set. Do you get it? Everyone else? Does everyone get it? Yes. Padma, you have a question, Padma, or you get it? Unmute yourself, Padma.
No, it's not about that, Bhante, but I look at your chart and your chart is different from the chart I have got in my book. Now, if you look at number 3, the FMS,
Okay.
you have 5 and 8 and 13, but my book says only 5 and 5. I mean, I don't know whether others have got a different book. When you said it, I was thinking about it, but now I can see why you said it.
Okay. Which one are you referring to again, please?
In number 3, again, number 3, the fine material sphere,
Okay.
it says 15, then it says 5, and then it says 8 and 13. But my book says 5 blank 5. So I don't know what's happened there.
Bhante, my book says the same. That's why I couldn't understand this chart.
You put it out, and others wouldn't have known what was going on.
That's why I couldn't fathom this calculation, because my book says the same as Padma's.
Yeah.
My book
And
also
even
says
Absolutely.
you're talking. You didn't know what, and I didn't know what you were talking, because my numbers and everything are different.
Yeah. Even number 4 is the same, 5, 4, 9. Mine says only 5 and 5 for FMS.
5.
So number 4 also for fine material sphere.
Okay, let's look at it. Hold on. Let's look at it. It must be different versions. You're using a book, yeah?
Yeah. That's
So this is
But
the
the
latest version.
got different numbers, Bhante, so it's very difficult. Now, when you put a chart only, we can see that you're saying something different to us. What's in the books?
I was going to query it actually.
All right.
But that's why I said that I'm just going to just listen to what the others are saying. But I gave up to understand.
Yes. So this version that I am using, to my knowledge, I think this is the latest version, which, yes, it's the latest version. Let's check the versions later. Maybe you can check the versions later. Anyways, now let's check it. Yeah, let's check it. Next time you see Bhikkhu Bodhi, you please let him know, Bhante, your versions are, you tell him proper that his versions, tell him to get the numbers right. No, we can sort this out. Don't worry. Now, let's come back. Okay.
Bhante, are we to get a copy of this? Because otherwise this didn't make sense when you were saying, first I was also 5 minutes late, so I got a bit disoriented. But then when I quickly tried to see, you were discussing, should we have, I don't know, rebuy the other version? Or I'm sure
there are a lot of differences, but this version is available, is a link to which is available on the website.
Okay.
Yeah. So
maybe if you can just send us this page to us, Bhante, then the rest we could follow.
It is on the website there. It is on the website. You can access it through the website. The PDF on the website.
Okay.
Yeah?
I mean, you can change it on the book if you like it, not much, but
absolutely. Now, no, it's not a big deal. Let's look at how that comes, right? So where are we? We are on the 3rd one, isn't it? No, we are on the 4th one. Okay. So here we have rebirth. You can see my cursor moving. Yes.
No, Bhante, even on the third one, FMS, as Padma said, is we have got 15 there. Then we have got 5. Then we don't have another 8 there. We just got 5 again in the total column. We don't have that 8.
Okay, dear. Now, what do you want me to do?
We just listen to the.
Come to
Then,
the
Bhante, you just in the
8.
class listen to your voice and question. That's what I do. We can't waste the time of the class because our books are different, Bhante. You just explain to the others and we just listen. I don't. That's what I told you before. Bhante, I find it difficult because the numbers.
The link is available on the website. You know,
Okay, so
and it's the same page, I guess. You know, it's the same page.
Do you have the total correct?
no, the total can't be correct because number 3 FMS has got 15, as Mada mentioned, and then it's got 5 there. The next 4 is not there, so we don't get a total of 9.
Next should be 8 actually.
So on
Total
top-
should be 5 plus 8, 13. The total last column should be 13.
No, now we are going on the third cage, right? We are looking at the third.
Yeah, third cage, yeah.
And in the third cage, we're looking at FMS. We've got 15 there.
Yeah,
Correct? Right. So after we got the third, then we got the 5.
yeah.
And we have an 8, so we can't have 13. So the last column is the total is 5. I don't know whether Padma has the same, that's what I have.
It should be 5 plus 8, 13 actually, last column.
But we don't have that. That's what we're saying. We just
Okay.
Yeah. Can we
That's
put
the
a
same.
stop to this now? I mean, Dil, it's too certain.
Sorry, Bhante.
Let's try to work with what we have. Yeah.
Bhante.
All right. So let's calculate and see. So number 4, category 4, yeah, right? Now we know where these 4 comes from. It's 2 different sets, 3 rooted inferior and 2 rooted superior wholesome, right? It's bunged together because both classes compared to the superior wholesome. Can you see my cursor moving? Can you see my mouse moving? Yes.
Yes.
Much clearer, Bhante, for us.
Huh?
Thank you. It's much clearer for us now. We know what you're talking about.
Okay, so 3 rooted inferior and 2 rooted superior are bunged together because in comparison to 3 rooted superior wholesome, these 2 categories are weak. Hence, it's bunged together, right?
Okay.
Now, at the time of rebirth, at the time of rebirth, we find ourselves where this category can give rise, within the sensory of blissful 7, excluding the woeful plane, through 4, which is of the great resultant disassociated with knowledge. Why? Why disassociated with knowledge? Because now, mind you, that this is 3 rooted inferior, right? Very important to note that. This is 3 rooted inferior. However, the resultant happens through great resultant disassociated with knowledge. Did you see that?
Yeah.
Yes.
The shift.
Yes.
Right?
That we understand.
Now that is because it is weak. Although the karma was produced through a 3-rooted consciousness, because it was inferior, it gave rise through its weaker counterpart, right? Through its weaker counterpart. So now, what happens if you are a being in the blissful plane? You will come down, not to the whole woeful realm, but you will at least come down from your stature, your class, your wealth, your whatever it is, you will come down, right? That why? Because the rebirth quality is going to be lower for sure. Do you understand?
Yeah.
Yes.
Is that clear, everyone?
That's clear,
Right.
Bhante.
One.
Thank you.
Right? Then we have again these two, right? The weaker category can give rise in all the sensuous spheres, planes, sensuous sphere, sense sphere planes during the course of one's life, right? During the course of one's life. How does this happen, right? Think of it. Now, even now, if you look here, 8. What is 8? Wholesome resultant or other resultant. So basically the wholesome rootless resultants, right? And always it is inferior, it will always be great resultant, disassociate with knowledge. If it is weaker, that is going to give rise. Hence, we have 8 plus 4, 12.
Yes. Well,
That's clear, Bhante.
Right? Is it clear now to everyone? I
yes.
can't see everyone's faces, but yeah,
Yes.
it's clear. Good. Yes, Devi, do you have a question?
No, I understood what
Okay.
you were
All right.
explaining.
Padma, your hand is up. Do you have a question, Padma?
No, it was only about the numbers I was querying. I'll take it off. Yeah.
Wonderful.
Sorry. Yeah.
Right. Now let's go down. FMS, fine material sphere. It can arise, these can arise during the time of a being, during the time of life, right? During life, within the fine material sphere plane. How can it arise? 5. We have 5. How do we have 5? These are because of the faculties available within the fine material sphere. So we count Chakku, Sota, Sampatichana, Santirana, right? Which amounts to 5. Do we remember that? That is how we get the 5. Investigating and receiving consciousness together with the eye consciousness and the Sota, hearing consciousness.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Ear consciousness. That's how we get 5. And we have 4 again. How? Disassociated with knowledge, great resultant. Right? 5 plus 4 is 9. Right? 5 plus 4 is 9. Now, what is the bill on your book? You said that this
We don't-
13, hold
We
on.
don't have the 4.
We have 8 there and we don't have the 4 here. That's the difference. So our totals are. So
Okay, hold on. Where?
So in the section 3 under fine material, we have the 15, we have the 5, we don't have 8, so we have 5 as a total.
All
And
right.
in section 4 here, again under FMS, we have 15 here under section 4, and that's right, and we have 5, but we don't have 4, so we don't get 9 there.
What do you have? Just 5?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
It's the same in my book too.
Okay. All right. Now, let's look at that, right? Let's look at that. Now, let's go to 3, right? 3, FMS, right? Material sphere, 15, 5,
Yes.
8, 13, total 13, right?
No.
Tell me the number that you have.
We have only 50. On the third, we have 15, we have 5, and nothing more. So there we have total is 5.
Total is 5.
All right.
Same for me.
Okay. Who is correct now? Is your book correct or my book correct? Now that is the
I
question.
know. My book has same as Dill's.
Yeah.
Right? That is the question. Who is correct? How do we see this? Now, if we would take 3-rooted superior wholesome, right, which is a powerful alobha, adosa, amoha consciousness, if it is arising within the fine material sphere, first of all, what we must ask ourselves is what can arise in the fine material sphere? What are the consciousnesses that can arise within the fine material sphere? Then we know there are certain consciousnesses that cannot arise, specifically the consciousnesses regarding the faculties which do not exist within the fine material sphere, are not there, right? Are not there. Now, if we take that, then how would it arise? Fine material sphere 5, which is from the from the rootless resultants, right? Rootless resultants, which is Chakku, Sota, receiving, investigating consciousnesses, add up to 5, add up to 5. And then we have, because it is 3-rooted superior wholesome, right? It should be able to, or we should be able to experience this through consciousnesses within the beautiful resultants. Within the beautiful resultants, which we do have here, right? Which we do have here, right? So in your book, you do not have the 8.
No, we do have the 8.
Okay.
No, we don't.
8 in the FMS.
We don't have it.
We don't have it. We don't have.
Yeah.
Yes, they only don't have FMS.
So,
no 8.
So then this is a sign to say, when you go through the charts, do a bit of, extra learning to see whether the charts are correct. How do the numbers get here? Kalama Sutta, do not believe. Do
not accept. Yeah, true.
How does it come here? How do we get this number? Right? All right. So then moving on, right? Moving on to 5. To 5. Now, we have 4 consciousnesses which are 2-rooted inferior wholesome. Is that clear how we get these 4? Right? Because we have 4 consciousnesses which are 2-rooted inferior wholesome. What are 2-rooted? Where we do not have knowledge. Right? Where we do not have knowledge. Now, where can this arise? Right? It can arise arise at rebirth, performing the function of patisandhi, right? Patisandhi within the human realm and the realm of, it says here, gods. In the note it says the god referred to in number 5 are from Chaturmarajika realm only. What are these gods? These are the weaker gods, huh? These are the weaker gods.
The Kumbhandas.
No, not the Kumbhandas, the Asurakayas. The fallen gods. Remember the fallen gods?
But
Yes.
they say, Bhante, that the Chatu Maharajika, that you get the king Dattaratta, I don't know, that's what in my book says, the king Virulhaka and the king Virupaka and the king Vesuvana, these 4 kings. And that king, so they control the Gandhabas, one controls the Kumbhandas, one controls the Nagas, and one controls the Yakas. That's what it says in my. But I suppose the king controls them. So the king may be there, but the Gandhabas and Kundabas and Nagas, they may be somewhere below. I don't know what, but that's what it says. And then they also say the groups are the Bhumarata Devas and the Rukkata Devas and the Akasata Devas, the earthbound. And
No. Now, regards here, this, right?
Yeah.
Maharaj, the lower.
Yeah, okay,
Lower.
Bhante. The low asuras, in the 4th realm.
Yes, they all belong to the Chaturmarajika. Right?
But
Maharajika
is the first realm of the gods, Bhante, because
Yes.
the second thing. So yes. So it is the first realm of the god. Yes.
Yes.
That's what it says here. Chatu Maharaja is the first realm of the gods. Tavasinta is the second. and that's where the
Yama.
chakra, yes, and where the Buddha's mother was. And then you have Yama, and then the Tusita is where the Maitri Buddha and our Buddha, when he was the Bodhisattva, the last birth, he was there. So that, and then the Nimanarati and the Paranimita Vasarati.
All right. Can I explain? Can I have right? Can I have the stage for a moment?
Yes.
Bhante, with reverence to you.
Right. Now, when we say Chatuma Rajaka, right? If it is a two-rooted, two-rooted inferior wholesome, the two-rooted inferior wholesome would specifically give rise to result within the lower categories of the Chatuma Rajaka, right? Meaning, right now, for example, wherever the Chatuma Rajaka is, right now, they say the beings of the Chatuma Rajaka are based on in the middle of the Mount Meru, right? However, the fallen gods are at the base of Mount Meru, right? They also belong to Chatuma Rajaka. However, the quality and standard of life is very low and difficult compared to the ones in the middle.
Thank you, Bhante.
Yes. Yes. And also, when we would take the gods or the deities living amongst us, some of them or most of them in this time, they also fall into this category, right? They are considerably weaker compared to those gods who live beyond the human realm. Considerably weaker. Do you understand? Hemamali, you are in thought. What are you thinking about?
We are not humans.
Human gods.
Right. So, okay. So is that understood?
Who are the human gods?
Who are humans? Yeah.
Human, gods, not human gods.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
The human gods, human gods. So humans and the inferior gods here, right? And here it says, no, the gods refer to number 5 are Chatuma Rajaka realm only. So these are referring to the lower realm gods. Okay. Now, moving on. Sorry. Okay. Then how does that happen or come to be, right? So we have 2 here, which is, of course, the human realm and the Chatuma Rajaka. And that can arise through, again, the wholesome, rootless, wholesome, investigating consciousness. Look at this consciousness. The wholesome, investigating consciousness only, right? Why? Weak, right? It is weak. Then we have this same class of chittas can arise during one's duration of life, right? Within all sense sphere planes and fine material planes, right? How does it arise? It can arise through, remember, we all see, hear, smell, taste, and feel. Hence, all of the rootless, wholesome resultants can arise, isn't it?
Yes.
Huh?
Yes, sir.
So then we have 8 there. Then fine material sphere 5. Chakku sota, eye, ear, receiving, investigating consciousnesses, right? Hence 5.
5.
Right? So then we have that equivalent there. Is that understood?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. Padma, do you have a question? Your hand is up again.
Oh, no.
Your hand down.
Sorry. I mean, no. Yeah, sorry.
Bhante, can I ask something, please?
Of course.
You said Sota, Chakku, receiving, investigate. So are there 2 investigating
Yes,
consciousnesses there?
There is.
There are two, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. Thank you.
Okay. Now, anything that you did not understand here?
That part we understood.
Is it clear? Don't be ashamed. If you have anything that you would like to, for me to sort of go into. Damsiri, you put your mic on? No, okay, okay, of course. Everyone's okay?
Me.
Can you explain to me, at the beginning there was a query, there were different people saying different things. The FMS in 2 and all, why did it become 15 when you counted something, two categories were joined together? How did it become 15 there?
So
Right on top.
it has become 15, right? Now
Yeah.
table 5.4 continued, right? So they have given us the key to this table above, you see, right?
Right.
So here,
Yeah.
when you when you would count or rather count, right?
Yeah.
Now FMS, fine material sphere, 15 here, right? 15.
Yeah.
If you would count, so fine material sphere, right? What goes into the fine material sphere, if you count it there, you find it equating to 15, right? This is, you see, pure abodes, which is 5th jhana resultant here, right? Pure abode, 5th jhana resultant here.
Yeah.
Pure abode, 5th jhana resultant, non-percipient beings, great reward, and these parts starting from earlier, if we are to add them up, they add up to 15, not 16, according to this key. Why is that? Because pure abodes here, what would usually be, right? Now, this is the planes of existence. You can all see this, yeah? Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Now, this is the usual chart. You see it's 16 here.
Yeah.
Right? It's 16 here.
Yeah.
What they have done in the chart that we see in the Abhidhamma book that we have, right, is that they have bunged these two together. Right? Highest pure abode and clear-sighted pure abode. Right? Whilst, you see, now we had all of this, right? And they were talking about this as one. However, in this categorization, they had bunged both of these two together, the 27 and 26.
Yes.
Right.
Right? The 27 and 26. Right?
Right.
The reason why they have done that, I will ask someone and let you know next week.
Now we understand, because in ours they're separate, so therefore we had one. Thank you very much, Bhante. Thank you for your time, and I'm sorry we had to disturb you so many times.
Yes, Padma.
Yeah. Sorry. Can you please explain that 8 in the FMS again, please? Because when you said it, I was so confused, I didn't follow it. How the 8 great resultants work in the fine material sphere. I think you did say it, but because of this chart in the book, I couldn't work where it was coming from.
Okay. 8 great resultants.
In the fine material sphere.
Okay.
How it works.
8 in the fine material sphere.
That is number 3.
Okay.
Number 3, yes.
Okay. So, number 3, 3 to superior wholesome, sense sphere all. No, you want the FMS.
Yeah, FMS.
Yes, 5.
Superior sphere 15, right?
Correct.
That's correct. Yeah, that's fine.
So here, what 3-rooted superior wholesome consciousnesses, when a karma is produced through a 3-rooted superior wholesome consciousness, how can it give rise, or how will it give rise within the fine material sphere?
Yeah.
We have two specific classes of resultant consciousnesses that we experience or go into experiencing such a karma which was produced by a three-rooted superior wholesome, right? Now, when we refer to three-rooted superior wholesome, remember, if you're offering dana, let's say the example of if you're offering dana, we know that would produce a similar result, right? An orange tree will not produce an apple fruit. An orange tree will produce orange fruits, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yes.
So, when we are referring to three-rooted superior wholesome consciousnesses, we are referring to, or that can give rise through the rootless section or the beautiful section.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
That is fine. Then we have the 5 coming in from the rootless.
Yeah.
We know how that comes. Do we, Padma?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Then in the 8,
Yeah.
the 8 comes about by when a person does something which is good, right? Something which is powerfully good. For example, now we might have been born into with all of this, with a body, with a mind that is, strong, can learn, can sort of denounce and discern complicated issues and all of these things, right? We are three-rooted beings, right? We are three-rooted beings, right? When we are although we have been born, let's say, of 3 roots, don't we sometimes do stupid things? We do. We do silly things sometimes, isn't it? But we are three-rooted, isn't it? Likewise, Padma. Now look at this chart. We have great resultant disassociated with knowledge and great resultants associated with knowledge.
Yeah.
Although a person is born with a superior state of consciousness, doesn't mean that it always has to be jnana sampyuta. That is impossible.
Right. Okay.
You get it now?
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Yeah, because this is during the life. Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
During the life.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
That clearly understood?
Yeah.
Well, Mala, yes, what do you want to say?
Bhante, you made a statement earlier.
Yeah.
You said that when somebody is in the hell, they can't bear the weight of a wholesome karma. And if you are in the heaven or another superior realm, they can't bear the weight of unwholesome karma. Can you explain that statement?
Yes. So the reason now, it is not all, again, divine beings can experience or can have unwholesome thoughts to only a certain level. Beyond that level, if their thoughts are to mature to such grave unwholesome, they will spontaneously disappear and reappear in a lower realm. That is death for them.
Oh, I see, right.
Just imagine a sudden heart attack of sorts, right? It is almost something like that. In the same way, why their bodies can't bear it up, right? Now, remember I told you this story about Mahasishyado some time ago? Mahasishyado, this woman coming to see Mahasishyado and speaking in tongues and Pali. And then, remember? I wonder if you remember. So this woman comes, who is possessed by a deity, and and Mahasi Sayadaw asks this woman, why is it that if you're a deity, why can't you all come down and show your true forms to create more shraddha in the people of the time? And then the woman says, our bodies are such that humans will not be able to bear the sight of us. Their hearts will split with lust upon seeing the bodies of the beings, right? Of seeing the bodies of the beings. Similarly, now with that and even certain references from the Buddha's life story, we understand that even humans are unable to experience certain divine figures. Why? Because the lust is simply just too much. Right? The lust is, we know that when hate increases to such an extent, some people have heart attacks, they can't bear with it, their bodies are weak, isn't it? When parents and all of them are older, we are quite concerned of how we break certain news to our parents, isn't it?
Yes.
Because we feel like they can't bear it up, right? That something might happen, isn't it? Right? We don't tell them. Now, in the same way, right? So that is what happens. So just as, remember, within the unwholesome plane, although now here we say, three-rooted superior wholesome, yes, might be able to appear in the unwholesome plane. It appears, but their bodies will not be able to bear it up. They often would disappear and then reappear. Remember, for a Patisandhi consciousness to arise, there should be a aramuna, an object, isn't it? For that object has to appear for it to be taken through the Patisandhi. Or else, if you go somewhere, you will never be able to come out of there. Especially if it is a place such as the woeful realms, isn't it? Right?
Yes.
The object appears, Patisandhi process, Chuti process takes it, and now rebirth linking process starts. Isn't it? Right? For you, for example, for you to think about, let's say, the good deeds that you have done, you have to do the good deeds, isn't it? You have to have the memory of the good deeds that you've done. Or else, what are you going to think about? What are you going to, that is the whole sort of very scary thing with illnesses such as dementia and Alzheimer's, and Parkinson's, and all of these sort of illnesses that affect memory, where you can't remember. So is that understood, Padma? Is that clear? Mala?
Yes, thank you, Bhante.
Yes.
But
Within
can I just
one more.
can I clarify something, Bhante?
Just one more. Within the sutras, there are certain sort of occurrences where the gods go to war, right? And where the gods fight with each other. For example, even between the Asurakayas, the lower gods, and the higher gods of the Chatu Maharajika, right? Higher gods of the Chatu Maharajika. And I asked this from my teacher who taught me Abhidhamma, and what he said was that he did not really have a proper answer for it, right? How that sort of war sort of could happen if it happened to such intensity as portrayed within the text, because of what is said here, right? Of what is said within the Abhidhamma, right? Yes, still.
Bhante, I remember when you were referring to the Agana Sutta and the Sapta Suttas, Uga Sutta ones, you were mentioning that they are the gods, the Brahmas, where from the higher realms to the slightly lower Brahma race, you get the Brahmas, you get the retinue and the ministers and the Mahabrahman, those first three realms. And the reason was also because there were some differences between them. And whenever there are differences and that particular comes a little bit, then they fall to lower realms, and then only they fell into the Manusa realm. So I remember that was described for this. And also in all these realms, whether it's the gods or whether it's the Brahmas, particularly the gods, that it's only the gods who are in the lower realms, like after Manu stage 5, like then from the next one, Mando 6, that they are the ones who come more closer to get the merit from human beings who give and to come close to us, because the amount of hatred and greed that we have in the Manusa realm is too much for them to have. And also when the Buddha went to, what's it? When the Buddha's stepmother's son, when Nanda had a beautiful, some Janapada Kalyani or something, who was very beautiful, and the Buddha wanted to take his mind, he took him to these higher realms and showed those beautiful things. And then he forgot everything, and he was so mesmerized that all that he wanted to do was to be with them. So then he practiced, Buddha said, right, then come and practice with you, you can go. So I remember these stories which have been told. Because you have been telling us these stories at different times, that how when the gods also have little differences, that their bodies burn up and then they fall to the lower Brahma realms, and then that's how they finally came to the Manusa realm in the Agana Sutta.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Bhante. Very interesting. Thank you. I'm glad you explained it all to us. Thank you.
Yeah. And I think I posted on the WhatsApp group with regards to the Saptasurya Sutra, where it says, 7 suns would arise. And this sort of occurrence where the 2 suns were apparent, and apparently when the sun is hot, apparently it depicted the reflection of the light can happen in such a way where you can see 2 suns. So I'm imagining a time where the sun would be so hot because of probably deforestation and all of carbon and all of that, where we would be able to see 7 suns. Maybe that is what the Saptasurya Sutta might be sort of referring to, But anyways, all right, we've taken enough of time. Lucky, do you have a question? Your mic is on.
No, Bhante, I think I understood some of it anyway. I need to read it again and try and understand all of it.
Read it again with the Chitta chart next to you, all of you. With the Chitta chart and the 31 planes of existence chart next to you. Read it again, and you will get it. You will get it. Always see, how does it happen? What is the story behind? Because the numbers represent a story. What is a story? Ask yourselves, right? What is a story?
Thank you. Yes.
All
Thank
right.
you, Bhante.
So
Thank you.
we have taken enough time, right? So I will see you all on Wednesday. We are having a sutra class, so I will see you on Wednesday. Take care, and all the very best. All the very best.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Thank you.